I think it's an opportunity to bring our community together first and foremost. I think it brings people from the smaller neighboring towns that they see, you know, they're not alone. I think we've all been through that. Well, you know, I'm the only one around here. Well, that's not true. And I think it also provides a safe place for people that maybe don't live in an area that can come out or not out in their work or in their own environment. So I think it brings that a safe place to them to participate, to see other people like them, and have fun that whole week. It's an educational week, but it's also a week to have fun.
It gives us a chance to party. And for one night, we can just kind of put the illnesses on the back burner and come out and shake the hands of those that are still alive.
It brings us all together. There are still people who say, oh, we don't really have a community. But when you stand on the sidelines and you watch all of the myriad of groups and organizations in that Pride Parade, you know that we do have a community. It's an amazing Pride Parade when you can see more religious organizations represented than bars. We've come a long way.
Pride to me is just the fact that it's not a choice, it's who we are kind of thing in life. It's important to show people that it's not a choice, it's not a lifestyle, it is who we are, and that we are just a part of this community like everybody else. We're a part of this world, and that Pride, if it shows the community just it gives people an insight into who we are, then hopefully that, and I don't know, it's just something that we have to be proud of.
If we keep playing like we have a dirty little secret, everybody else is going to treat us as though we have a dirty little secret. So being out of the closet, being proud, giving voice to the reality of our lives, not denying who we love or how we love, those are really important. And Pride Week is a celebration of that. A lot of times, you know, there's criticism about, well, what do you have to be proud about? And then, you know, why do you have to flaunt it? Well, because we've been a disenfranchised and oppressed people. And I do believe that gays and lesbians, the transgenders and bisexual movement, and our allies are an oppressed people. We have a culture. I do not want to be assimilated. I want to be accepted. I don't want mere tolerance. I want understanding. And I want that concept of being allies to other people.
It's so great to be able to be ourselves. I think that's incredible. You know, as a social worker who looks at mental health issues, it means we're healthier whole people when our private life and our public life kind of come together and we can be both. We're not hiding behind fake images of ourselves. So I think it's made an incredible difference on the health of our community, on our I think our community is so talented, and you know, I've always felt that our greatest resource is ourselves. It's not our money. It's not all these other things. It's ourselves as human beings and what we bring to the table. On projects like this, the Pride Committee, you know, works all year long and is creative and wonderful, and they're out there doing this great project that really makes me proud to be a part of the community. And so I think it's important to us as a community to be out there, and Pride Parade sort of says it all, and is probably the biggest event where we are out there and being ourselves. And it's fun to see. I have a lot of neighbors in Montrose who bring their kids to it, straight families who bring their kids, and they just, you know, explain to their kids, this is what Gay Pride's all about, and these folks live in our neighborhood, and these are our neighbors, and these are people that we enjoy and came to celebrate tonight. So that's really important, I think.
We have had this remarkable ability of needing a spirit or a personality or some energy and looking around and finding it right there. For Pride Week, it initially was Larry Bonareese to make the parade into what other people's marches and parades had not yet become. At another time, it was Jack Valinsky. We needed Jack Valinsky to carry the ball and make sure that there was an opportunity to keep the most democratic and inclusive organization in the city exactly in that state. And I have seen it because I've started a lot of efforts and I've seen them pass from hand to hand, And it always seems that somehow fate, fortune, the luck of the gay, or maybe it's just that we actually are this enormous reservoir of tremendous talent, have been able to come up with what we need at a time we need it. It's remarkable. I'm very proud of my service to and with this movement. And it's all written down somewhere. And there'll be a reference on the tombstone where you can find that. The thing that I found that most adult gay people missed in their lives was a supportive parent. And here was handy disco grandma. She was in her 70s. She went to every drag show at the plantation every Sunday. They even had a special table for her. Charles Armstrong looked after this because she was an icon. He, like I, recognized that gay people are drawn to people their parents' age who are supportive of people being gay.
I was a member of the Houston Motorcycle Club and then went to work at Mary's. And that pretty much threw me into the middle of everything because of Jim Farmer. He helped everybody and anybody who needed it in any organization. They said, you know, well, we need money for this. And he'd give them money, or he'd just take it out of the register. And it didn't matter who you were, what you were, whatever you needed, he'd give it to you. And he was a big supporter of every aspect of the gay community, regardless.
And I don't think he ever received the credit that he so justly deserved, because when I opened up Kindred Spirits, he was one of the very first people to come and say, is there anything I can do to help you? What can I do for you? What can I do for the women's community? This is wonderful. Marion was an old-timer, and she was tough, but she had a gentle soul. She had a place for women to go that wasn't in existence before, and she was supportive in the fact that she tried to maintain a nice place for women to come to. I think they were a little bit more selective in not having as many men, but from time to time she did acknowledge men and allow them in the bar.
Well, yeah, I had a personal relationship. We had the same lover. She was with Marion for 10 years, and then she was with me for 10 years. But I didn't break her and Marion up. Marion and I were very close, very close friends. And it wasn't always that way. It was sort of a bitter situation when it all came down, and the way it came down. And but Marion was a very nice person. In fact, we had the same cemetery plot out here on Lawndale.
We met Walter Strickland at the barn. He owned the barn. And he and Andy and Larry Bonaries and myself went to
Reno. For the gay rodeo.
For the gay rodeo. And I think MS, it was for MS basically, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And Walter said, you know, instead of giving the money away from our community, we should do something and give it to our community and not be out here in Reno and all over the states giving money when we need it so desperately ourselves. So we all founded the Texas Gay Rodeo Association, and Jim Farmer initially gave most of the money for that, and then Walter Strickland, Jerry Kaufman of the Briar Patch, and myself. And in fact, I'm the only remaining founder that's alive with the Texas Gay Rodeo Association. But Walter was very instrumental in putting that together. He was sort of like a grandfather to us, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
A nice, sweet man.
Oh, a dear, dear man. And he was another one that really worked behind the scenes.
The first time I ever heard the name D-Lam, I was still living in Atlanta, Georgia. One of the former pastors of Resurrection MCC was there at the time. And he and D-Lam had been very close when he pastored here. And he told me, be sure and look up D-Lam and give her a big hug and tell her hi. So when I moved here, I came here looking for D-Lam. She was then pastoring another MCC that was meeting in the Heights. She became very ill and ultimately moved back to Resurrection and began to assist me in doing our evening service at that time. So I remember working closely with her. She was a very strong spiritual leader. Even after she lost a lung, she was still able to encourage people when they would visit her and be a strong force to keep their spirits high at a time when you would think hers would have been very low. But she remained a trooper right to the end.
Well, unfortunately, my co-Grand Marshal is now deceased. He passed away from AIDS, and that's a reminder over and over again of how many lives we've lost over the years. My co-Grand Marshal was Walter Carter, long-time bar owner, just general good, supportive guy, kind of barrel-chested and a beard, and always in his Western attire, and just a good, solid supporter of the community.
He had a couple of bars. And he was supportive of everything that happened in the community. Permitted fundraisers to take place at his establishments. He was just a great guy all the way around.
When I think of Gene, I think of laughter, and I also think of wisdom. And of course, many people will remember that Gene had a stutter, which he didn't let stop him from being very well educated, being a professor at TSU, and being an activist in the community. So sometimes it took him a while to get something out, but when he did, it was always so profound.
My 70th birthday, it was used as a fundraiser for the Montrose Counseling Center. And Gene was one of my roasters. And he got up there and he had a brown paper bag in his hand, and he said, you know, he said, here you are 70 years old, and this is my first chance to lay you. And he had just returned from a trip to Hawaii, and he brought out this orchid lei and put it around my neck. So I thought that was a very amusing, typically Gene.
And we formed the AIDS Foundation in Houston, and we formed all these other, the Montrose Counselings and the Montrose Clinics adapted for the AIDS thing. And then Eugene Harrington said, no, wait a minute. Before we become all well people looking down on people with AIDS, what we need to do is have the AIDS Equity League. And so he created a watchdog group to watch over and make sure that we didn't become bureaucratic and condescending, and better people helping others. And we kept our clay feet, and that we were in that. And I think that's the spirit that still survives in all those organizations. And I don't think it would have if it hadn't been for the courage and the creativity of Eugene Harrington.